significance of this conference is precisely because this is one another step in bringing two different perspectives, almost running parallel to each other, together in terms of formal conversations. One is that of ideas and theoretical debates around modern slavery, or which is also called contemporary forms of slavery. And the second is about actually contemporary forms of communities suffering from work and descent. Discriminated being on the basis of work and descent. Now, very often what has happened is these two actually streams have been running parallel to each other, while people have not really formally recognized the fact that they actually intersect with each other very, very deeply. And I think this is a very important milestone, not just in terms of the study, but also in terms of the fact that this needs to be actually acknowledged as part of these formal conversations. The report actually, that's why, builds on this conversation which I just talked about, tries to bring together these two different parallel running frameworks, and very often, especially in the realm of international human rights laws, especially in the discussions around ICER, the International Convention on Elimination of Racial Discrimination, the elimination of actually discrimination based on work and descent, slavery, modern slavery, and caste-based discrimination. And so there are all these different actually parallel definitions going around across UN human rights debates. Now, actually what is important about this report is it tries to bring together salient common features in each of these, not just in terms of what is important through to recognize in terms of the categories, that discrimination, not just in terms of economic category, discrimination actually as a social category, and then builds a set of larger global examples, right from going from South Asia, which is a well documented space, to actually Eastern Asian societies in Japan, Korea, to actually Middle Eastern societies, slave descent laborers and all that, Haratins and so on, to African societies, Osus in Nigeria and so on, to Latin American societies where you have Quilombola communities and so on, to actually Europe, Roma, and brings them together not just by giving examples of the kind of discrimination these communities have undergone through centuries, but how they have actually continued to face discrimination on the basis of 4-5 very clear common salient feature. Descent, very clearly. The kind of menial jobs they have been forced to do, very clearly that. Third, actually intermarriage, complete prohibition and so on. Fourth, ideas around purity and pollution associated with them, very clearly. And fifth, actually also not being allowed to change their professions and so on. So these are very, very common elements around which actually they have been bonded in their solidarities. And that's why I feel that what is very important is that this report tries to bring together that common story for all these communities across the world. What I feel is that the last 20 years, today the speakers were talking about 2001 Durban Conference on race and so on, and how there was a massive mobilization actually built by Dalit organizations across the fact that the caste should be recognized as part of international lexicon, despite opposition from governments, including India, unfortunately, and so on, even though Nepal, for example, has officially recognized and all that. So what I feel is that this struggle has reached a critical stage where, while civil society itself has been united over the years, and because of that effort, their advocacy has brought the fruition where these categories have been brought together. I think what is very important is at this stage, where we began to also see that how certain governments, official state governments, or certain states, like Nepal, as I mentioned, and some of the other states, began to recognize the importance of bringing these categories together. And UN especially has also been pushed to officially recognize. I think the next steps would be for us to push this with two-pronged strategy, bring out more and more studies of this kind across the countries, which I was talking about briefly earlier, and second, bring out another level of mobilization, not just of civil society, which has been a part of the struggle anyways, but engage into official conversations with the respective state governments, that how they need to look at these categories, where the idea of modern slavery should not be just reduced to the forms of economic exploitation like bonded labor or agriculture wage labor or trafficking, but the fact that these communities, in being forced to be part of this these kind of professions come from very specific certain communities, and which has been an intergenerational process. This recognition will actually lead to the process of very clear international obligations on behalf of the states, where they would be forced to actually take steps on those parts as well. I think that itself would be the first step, that you recognize that these are interlinked processes, one. Second, you recognize that modern slavery is intergenerational slavery to a great extent, and that means that states have to be answerable to actually look at framing laws within their own countries as well, and which has been a big missing link so far. I think that will be a next huge push.